No, I was just like stretching a little bit.
The Rebbe's of Torah.
Okay, so we'll start off. Covered Purim. Pasha, Erev Shabbos Pashas Tetzaveh. So we mentioned we spoke last time we got together to talk about what we refer to in our imaginary way as Pnimiyus Torah. We spoke about Moshe Rabbeinu's kesher to the Chodesh of Adar and the whole Nes of Purim. That Haman was Sameach when he saw that Moshe Rabbeinu was nifter in Adar, and that's when the poor fell out in Adar. So he was Sameach. It was a Chodesh Shemeis by Moshe Rabbeinu. V'lo yoda, Zakti Gemara, that Adar is a Chodesh Shemeis Shenoila by Moshe Rabbeinu, Meis Moshe Rabbeinu. Noila knew his Meis. Some Seif's Medayik in the Gemara, he says what's happens that Lo Yoda, that it's why do I have to repeat? Right? It's Chodesh Noilad by Moshe Rabbeinu Umeis Moshe Rabbeinu. He already mentioned that. He knew that already. What he seemed to be missing was a Chodesh that was Noilad. That missing Moshe Rabbeinu was Noilad in Adar. What's the idea of repeating the Misa? Some Sefer makes R in the Gemara. Maybe we'll get to what the Some Sefer is pilpul on that Gemara is. So Moshe Rabbeinu is there mekusher with the Yontav of Purim. The whole Yontav of Purim is b'schus Moshe Rabbeinu, as I state, right? The whole Nes of Purim and Adar it's a Chodesh shenoilad by Moshe Rabbeinu, or as we're being medayek, Chodesh shenoilad umeis Moshe Rabbeinu, which we touched up is a pshat is that his Misa is not a Misa. His Misa is Haylada, Haraya. He was born and he died on the same day. Das heißt, it's not a Misa. It's just Nacha Taylada, Nachama being Nailat.
Haman thought he died.
Haman thought, right. So what you could say is, Avadi knew he was Nailad, but right, as I mentioned, Rabbi Shor said, Avadi knew he was Nailad Zainadar, but he thought Nailad, and then it ended, came to the end, he didn't realize, no, that Misa just Nacha Taylada, and Moshe Rabbeinu, Nishmas Moshe Rabbeinu is Kaim B'chol Dar, and it's taka the R of Moshe Rabbeinu. If the R of Moshe Rabbeinu is what really was the Koyach of Purim. I'm going to throw out a little bit of side, and I think it's true. Moshe Rabbeinu, I believe, is referred to as the R of Yesod Abba. Okay, it's a Kabbalistic term. The R that was Niskala on Purim, that was what brought about the Nes was the Zalba R, the R of Yesod Abba, which means an R that comes from the highest level. Obviously, we don't know what it means higher, lower, because Hashem everything is echad, so there's no such thing as higher level. And that's why lay people don't learn Kabbalah, because you start talking higher, lower, Chachma, Bina, Das, Abba, Ima, and all these Chinese people can go a little cuckoo, right? But at the end of the day, right, the R is called Yesod Abba. Okay, that's Nizgal on Purim, and the Arizal says that this Gevaldika R is Nizgal every Purim, and that's what's Merumas in Megillah B'zichram La Yosef Mizaram, right? B'zichram La Yosef Mizaram lashon of Zachar, Zachrus, which is the side of the side of a person is the Aver from Zachrus, which is Midas HaYesod. That's the mashal of the R of Yesod. V'zichram lo Yosef Mizaram. This R of Yesod Abba. Now I'm just throwing it out. I'm pretty sure I saw this, but Moshe Rabbeinu, the R that Moshe Rabbeinu is mashpia that comes through Moshe Rabbeinu is the R of Yesod Abba. Okay, so Mela Moshe Rabbeinu's R, his kedusha, is what ultimately warranted the Nes, and I'm not saying anything new. That's what the Gemara says. Lo yada Haman, that this was the Chodesh Shenoilad Moshe Rabbeinu, and Mela, that's his undoing. Right? He thought he's good. Moshe's off the scene. Nay, Moshe's on the scene. Chai v'kayim, and he's being mashpia. The schus of Moshe Rabbeinu is where what's being piled all the Yeshuas.
So why is it Dafka David Melech still Chai v'kayim?
Yaakov Vino Meis. Yeah, state. No, and it says it also, and it says by all the Avos, I believe, I think you have different Majoshim by all other Avos that they're Chai V'Chaim, and we know they're Chai V'Chaim. They come to your sukkah every sukkah, right? So the Gemara says Tzadikim b'misasim Krim Chayim. You know what I'm saying? Not just Krim Chayim, the Chayim, but just said over the Ma'aseh with the Stefan Esther, right? Stefan Esther came to someone in a dream, and this person was walking in a field, and he asked the Stefan Esther, "Where am I?" He told me, "On the Beis HaChaim." He says, the Stefan Esther told him, "No, why it's called Beis HaChaim? Because when you come to daven by a tzaddik, he comes to life. And not only does he come to life, he goes to his Rebbe, and his Rebbe comes to life, and all the Rebbes start coming to life, and Mela, the whole place is the Beis HaChaim all of a sudden, right? That's when you come to daven, the whole place comes alive. So this is but this is klar. That's the Gemara. The Gemara is klar that the Nes of Purim is Schus Moshe Rabbeinu, and to just give it an uptight in Lashonos of Kabbalah, the iris of Purim are V'zichram lo Yosem Mizarim, which is Yisayid Abba Mislabeshes B'Malchus, right, in Esther, right? Esther, it's Mislabeshes. Esther is Malchus, right, and Mordechai is Be'emes. He's the personification of Moshe Rabbeinu, right? And the R of Yisayid Abba is Mordechai, and ultimately, it's Mordechai being mislabish be'Esther, and this tremendous R being Nizgala. That's Mordechai. It's mysterious nefesh b'zeicha to Moshe Rabbeinu's iris. That's the way I have to say it. Mordechai with his mysterious nefesh b'zeicha to Moshe Rabbeinu's iris. What is Moshe Rabbeinu? What is Moshe Rabbeinu? Moshe Rabbeinu is the greatest Moshe nefesh from Klal Yisrael. Okay, Moshe Rabbeinu is the greatest Moshe Nefesh of Klal Yisrael, and that really gets us to Parshas Tetzaveh. But we'll get to Parshas Tetzaveh in a moment. Just this connection between Moshe Rabbeinu and Purim is very apparent in the Gemara in Chulin that Ariel just mentioned. Gemara in Chulin, the Shulach HaKein. The Gemara is talking about the Hilchos Shulach HaKein. Where do you find the tziparim, the nest? And the Gemara says if you find a nest floating in the water, so Rashi says it's on a tree floating in the water, right? That's called baderech. Baderech. The yam is called the derech. Shenemar, right? Hanaisein bayam derech. So you see, the yam is derech. So that's
the most inconspicuous of places because
you would never expect to be there, right? But it's a keem of derech. But if it's not derech, the Torah says derech. Torah says it might be yam derech. So fexach hashayla over here. The Gemara brings the shayla. Amrilei papunai l'Rav Masna. Papunai said to Rav Masna, Matzah kan b'rosh shel adam mahu. What happens if you find a nest on someone's head? Right? A guy doesn't realize he has a nest on his head. How that happened, I'm not sure. Matzah kan, yeah, he's dressed up like a tree, and then some birds nested on his head. Right? So what's the deal? Does that qualify for Shulach HaKein? So Amar v'adama aroishai. Right? It says that a person has dirt on his head. If the person referring to someone having dirt on his head, so Rashi refers to the dirt on his head as adama. It's not adama; it's afar aroishai. Adama is ground. Right? If you take dirt from the ground, then you put it on the table. It's not adama on the table. Right? It's dirt on the table. Adam means it's connected to the ground. From the fact that it's still referred to as Adama Raisha, we see that Adam is Adama, and Adama on his head retains its status as Adama. Mela, when you find the Kan on his head, it's on the ground. Right? And so that's called Baderech. So there's Chiyav Kan Tzipur of Shliach HaKein on the Matzah Kan B'Rosh Shel Adam. Okay? That's the introduction to where I want to get to. Well, maybe we could come up with Siyat Ishmael with some sort of
a little bit more wide.
Some sort of connection between the next shilas. Comes along Papunai once he's asking interesting shilas.
Beard is also considered on the Rosh.
There could be a whole forest.
So at this point, Papunai, or maybe it's Rav Papunai, he's asking some pretty interesting shilas. So now he comes up with a really interesting shilah. Moshe min HaTorah minayin. How do you know Moshe from the Torah?
What?
Right? What do you mean? The Torah is full of Moshe. Dr. Rashi, Moshe min HaTorah minayin. Where's a remes from Moshe Rabbeinu before Moshe Rabbeinu was introduced to the Torah? Where's a remes from early in the Torah? There's a remes from early in the Torah. Right?
Even if so, why do you need that?
Right? But it's clear that Moshe Rabbeinu is such an integral part of Bria Sa'ilam. You're going to have him someplace in Bria before he comes on the scene as a human, right? As a person. Okay? That's the chayr of the pshat. Moshe min HaTorah minayin. It's a pasuk. And the Bereishis says, well, Yad and
the stick that he used created in Shmashos, the sixth day.
Does it say Mata Moshe? Does it say Mata Moshe? It says Mata Moshe over there? That I'm not sure. It could be. The Mishnah and the Midrashim say different things, but it could be. It says Mata Moshe. It says over there.
One would say it was destined for him ultimately.
Yeah. So the pasuk says, "Layad ruchi adam b'shagam hu basar." Shagam is the Rashi Moshe. Shin Gimel Mem b'shagam. Beis Gimel's Hey, and Shin Mem is the Mem Shin b'shagam hu basar. Okay, so Moshe Rabbeinu is merumas all the way at the beginning of Bria, when the Bria starts deteriorating, right? Layad ruchi adam b'shagam hu basar v'hayam of Meya. V'esrim shanas under the pasuk. Okay, sound like Moshe Rabbeinu. V'hayam of Meya v'esrim shanas. Moshe Rabbeinu.
Yeah, who's the pasuk referring to?
It's Hashem says that I can't really be civil the Velt anymore. Everyone's acting out and up here. Yeah, right before the V'hayam of Meya v'esrim shana. Right, Moshe Rabbeinu Meya v'esrim shana. B'shagam is Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay, we got Moshe Rabbeinu Murmus in the Torah. What's next? Right? Maybe this whole this whole conversation took place on Purim, right? Moshe Rabbeinu min HaTorah minayin b'shagam hu basar. Next question is Hamin min HaTorah minayin. Right? State in pasuk also Bereishis Hamin ha'etz Asher, it doesn't bring down the pasuk. Hamin ha'etz asher batzchem lo ylechem mimenu, right? Achalta, right? Hamin ha'etz by the eitz hadas, chet eitz hadas. Hashem says to Adam, Hamin ha'etz. Hamin is Haman. Esther min HaTorah minayin. V'anoichi ha'aster pane b'yom hu by the teichecha. Yeah, V'anoichi ha'aster pane b'yom hu. Mordechai min HaTorah minayin d'chsiv morderar. It says by the Shemin HaMishcha, Kachlab Psalm Rosh Morderar. Huh? Yeah. Kachlab Psalm Rosh Morderar. Right? Mitagamina, right? Morderar is Meiradachya, which is Mordechai. Okay, so we have over here the Gemara in Chulin. Makes the connection between. Well, we have to know. We have Shulach HaKain, which is Adam, right? Because it's telling us Adam's Minha Adama. And that is the inyan of Adam, right? Kimin Adama, right? Adam is called Adam because he's Minha Adama. So it introduces Adam Rishon. Once we introduce Adam Rishon is immediately followed up by we have Adam. Once you mention Adam Rishon, right? The B'chin of Adam. So who's the ultimate Adam? Moshe Rabbeinu, because ultimately Moshe Rabbeinu came to Misagim Chet Adam, right? And once you have Moshe Rabbeinu is connected to the Nes of Purim, like we said, right? Oh, speaking of Moshe Rabbeinu, if Moshe Rabbeinu is Merumas Mitchilas Habriya, you know who else has to be Merumas Mitchilas Habriya? Well, Moshe Rabbeinu, all his partners, right? Who are Moshe Rabbeinu's partners? Right? The Nes of Purim, Haman, Mordechai, and Esther. Okay, so you have again this Gemara Chulin also brings out this point that Moshe Rabbeinu is integral to the.
I would say David HaMelech, Mashiach. There's a lot of other big names that are pretty integral.
Integral to Nes of Purim. I'm saying to Nes of Purim, right? You see over here, you have Haman, Mordechai, and Esther. Those are the three key components of Purim.
Nobody cares about
And Moshe Rabbeinu is the other personality introduced, and the other personality introduced is being brought in through the mitzvah Shluach HaKain is l'chayr Adam Arishan,
Why don't we care about
which is Tachas Abriya.
Why not Achashverosh?
Achashverosh was just a pawn. You know what I'm saying? Achashverosh, he was machlokes whether he was a shaita or a chacham, but at the end of the day, he was just being used.
Just the guy with the ring.
He's malchus, right? Leslie Megamei Klum. He's just being influenced.
used.
He's just being influenced.
He wasn't pushing anything.
Huh? Haman is a kayachara. He is the Rav of the Vel.
Doesn't it say that Haman made the Yidden do tshuva more than all the Nevi'im?
It's true. That's
Well,
yeah. That wasn't his kavana, but you're right. Yeah, that's Hashem's kavana. That's Hashem's.
Doesn't it say
Meir came from-
B'nei shel Haman
Is it one or
oivim
the
b'nei
other?
brak?
I think both.
B'nei bana shel Haman. Yeah, like B'nei Brak. Yeah,
We don't take our money for
It'll
game.
work out just
Hey,
fine.
yeah.
it's a good shaila, you know.
I believe you.
Not sure what the answer is. How that happens. Huh?
Why did Haman get so upset? Because Moshe Rabbeinu was nifter that month of others. Like, whoa.
He felt that Moshe. This is a month where Moshe Rabbeinu's chus is diminished.
Okay.
So,
Fine. And
so he understood that the chus of Moshe Rabbeinu is not going to allow me to do what I need to do. But if I have Moshe Rabbeinu out of the picture, I'm good to go.
Everything that ever
That's what I'm saying,
happened
yeah,
in the past. Like, why did he zone in on that? Like, that's going to be the effect
So
on
Haman is teaching us a very big insight in Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu is everything to Klal Yisrael. All our schus that we have, our schus kiyum is Moshe Rabbeinu. That's Haman's Megal. This side, he's teaching us Torah now, right? Huh?
Why did he focus on the Avai's your side? When the day that the Avais wasn't up there?
Right.
Avram,
Right.
Moshe Rabbeinu is the hemshech of the Avos. Moshe Rabbeinu is built on the Avos. So Moshe Rabbeinu is not a standalone. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu is he right? He is a schal Avram Yitzchak, right? He's always standing on the schus Avos. Right? So Moshe Rabbeinu is ultimately he brings the schus Avos to the front. Right? He's the one, the mashpia of bringing the schus Avos to the. That's what I would say.
Shlomo has a good question. What shot that Haman is being highlighted here is having all these cheshbonis, all these ruchniistic factors involved, and you don't see Hitler saying and throwing dice and doing all this kind of stuff, and like, how should I get the Jews, and when's the best time to do Crystal Nacht, and you don't see necessarily that.
I think that is worth it.
Why was Haman more sophisticated?
Like how did he know this stuff? He probably didn't know all the Abba Behima and all the Kabbalistic stuff,
No,
but he knew enough to know
yeah.
that-
He was a mechashef. You know, he knew the kaichs of the Welt. You know, he knew what was going on.
Also, they saw it more, no?
Huh?
They also saw it more.
Yeah, they see it.
The average guy knew a lot of Torah though, because you see, he knew Psukim, he knew stuff, he knew
Huh?
Al-Tisma, all
Did
that
he use the
kind of
Ruach
stuff.
HaTamah? He also used the Ruach HaTamah?
All his kayach of kishev was Ruach HaTamah. That's what he is. He is the klipa, right? Him Aseres Bonov are literally, that's the 10 spheres of klipa. That's not by chance he has 10 children, right? He is
I thought he had more than 10 children.
He is the full. Well, we find there are 10 bigger children. You know what I'm saying? But right.
So why was he zoiche for his sons to learn in Bnei Brak?
Why was he
Because
Zeiche?
Because in
he made them do
a
tshuva.
super far off way, he helped us do tshuva. So
You're saying Lemais,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Bezilvish.
Hashem doesn't hold back schar from anybody. Just like Chanetzar.
He said he gave the mashal. I think he gave the mashal. Like it's like a murderer saves his son from choke. He's not going to get a reward. His kids are going to, his family's going to.
So he got a roundabout reward because he.
Because he's always showing how important how first I thought we.
I was just thinking earlier,
Oh,
Achashverosh is
I
such a
thought you said
cheapo. He tried to get Mordechai. He tried to give him a little bit of cover, just like in exchange for saving his life. What a cheapo! We'll give him a ride around town on my horse.
Again, Achashverosh can't come up with anything on his own. Right? It's once Haman plants that idea, that's all he has. He had nothing else. You know what I'm saying? He's empty.
Like Biden.
Yeah. Bechlal. That's that Bechlal leiv malachim b'yad Hashem. They have no migar me klum. That's what malchus is. You know what I'm saying? So it's whatever hashpah Is so Haman puts that idea. Okay, that becomes policy. You know.
I think the Gra says that he was trying to push Haman to do it very quickly because he was afraid that Esther was going to come in the morning and ask for something from Mordechai. So therefore, he wanted to get this fire out of the way.
Hello.
In order to say when Esther comes back in, I already paid him back.
Oh,
can't ask
fair.
anything.
Okay, Baruch Hashem, Chas Hashem, beautiful. Okay. Tiskal mitzvahs. Okay. Amen, amen. Veilige Purim, gezond en nachas atzlocha. Alle gute Sachen, Bez Hashem.
Middle corner.
Okay, but thank you so much.
The corner is less place. There's more crunches.
Stop trying to be Moshe Rabbeinu
I wasn't he?
after all that.
Because if Moshe Rabbeinu would have gone to Eretz, there wouldn't have been an Asa Purim.
You're saying because Mashiach would have came when they first made some
Would
English.
that be so terrible?
You have to, well, it's stated, but if, Mashiach would come when there wouldn't have been Eitzim Avanim, there couldn't have been Eitzim Avanim. We would have been.
It was good that other Isha made from later that.
Everything's ultimately good.
All right, Rabbi, let's bring it home.
It's all ultimately good.
Come on, Harris. When are we getting out of here?
Rabbi, let's bring it home.
Okay, so we'll just try. We'll just begin to wrap it up. These thoughts need a lot of thought, and Be'emes are very much totally in the Olam over here. So these thoughts are not my thoughts; it's what the Olam is ma'arer, because I'm also beginning machos leslie megamei klum, and I need the Olam to be shoyev, and the music helps.
Rabbi, you're the sus. You carry everybody.
But just bekitza, we'll lay out the concept. I'm sure the concept is said. Haman is he's klipa, right? He's kaychatuma. Kaychatuma has very little makom to achiza in kedusha. The only place that the kaychatuma has achiza is the midas hamalchus. Okay, midas hamalchus is the lowest madrega of the spheres, and midas hamalchus is referred to as eis kuf is connected malchus, and it's ragles yardos mavis. Right, the foot of the kuf goes all the way down below the line. It's yardos mavis. It goes into the olam haklip, into olam hatuma.
Isn't it the last one though?
Huh?
Isn't Malchus the last one?
Yeah.
So then
Malchus kedusha.
You think the last one is the highest, no?
No, it goes all the way down. Kesser to malchus. It's on bottom.
If you're looking at it from Hashem's perspective, coming down, Malchus.
Oh, you look at the
Yeah.
other way.
It goes Kesser goes to down to malchus. Right. So Haman ultimately is his achiza is in malchus. What's malchus? You know what malchus is? Eitz hadas Torah is malchus. Right, you have Eitz HaChaim v'Sei Chagan. Eitz HaChaim is Torah. Torah shebechsav. Right? Eitz HaChaim v'Machzikim bo. And Eitz hadas Torah is malchus, which is Torah Sheba'al Peh, which is Torah Sheba'al Peh. When you go to Torah Sheba'al Peh without being sourced in Torah shebechsav, so you mahapach the yitzris. Right, Torah Sheba'al Peh has to be sourced in Torah Shebechsav. If Torah Sheba'al Peh is you want to be mechadish in Torah without anything to source it in, so then your kaisis benatiyas.
Minah hani mili. Minah is Haman. I don't know what that is. I just noticed.
Minah is with an aleph, but
Minah.
But hani mili. Minah hani.
Minah hani mili.
Minah hani Rashi Tevis.
That's what I meant.
But
That's what I meant.
okay, so this is Haman's achiza. Haman's achiza is in Malchus. Eitz hadas Torah. Hamin ha'etz asher amarti lo, which is referring to the Haman Manatar Minai. And Haman's achiza is in the original Eitz hadas when Malchus is not connected. When the Haman, when the Ra has a shlit in Malchus, right? So then that's where Haman's koyach is. Klal Yisrael midach gisa. What ends up happening after the Nes of Purim? Kimu v'kiblu. What were they Makabel? Kimash Kibble Kvar, they Makabel Torah. Zok what Torah were they Makabel? Torah Shabbat Peh. Because now that they undid Haman's Achiz and Malchus, right? So now they have a Hechat Timsa to Makabel Torah Shabbat Peh. So that's why Haman's Mirum is in Hamin Eitz, because that's where Haman's Achiza is. In Eitz Das Tevera. When the Torah Shabbat Peh is not Bishleimus by the Chet of Adam Rishon, because it was not rooted in Torah, and by time of Achashverosh was because the Kimu V'Kiblu, the Nas of Nishma was not Gans, because they were not Mekabel Bishleimus the Torah Shabbat Peh. Right? Haman ultimately was the Hechat Timsa for the Eitz Das to be miyusha where it needs to be, because now's the perfect time for the Eitz Das Tevera. Once you have Torah, which Torah Shabbat from Sinai, right? So then you could have Haman his breaking his achiza in the Malchus allows Klal Yisrael to be mekabel the Torah Shabbat Peh, which is the kim of the kibble of Purim. There's chus for all this. Ultimately, Moshe Rabbeinu is a nice and a Torah of the Torah Shabbat. Right, but Moshe Rabbeinu also is meant to be the bridge of Torah Shabbat to Torah Shabbat Peh. So the chus of Moshe Rabbeinu ultimately is the chus of Klal Yisrael, like we said, for all the nisim of Purim. Just to furious with the parsha Atat Tzav B'nai Yisrael. So Parsha Tzav is klar the. It's very well known that Parsha Tzav is the only parsha in the Torah without Moshe Rabbeinu's name. Once Moshe Rabbeinu is in the Torah. Once Moshe Rabbeinu comes on to the scene, Parsha Shemais, every parsha has Moshe Rabbeinu's name in it. By Davar Shem Moshe 1,000 times.
I think in Dvarim there's a couple of
Huh?
Does Dvarim doesn't count?
I don't think it's
I
Dvarim.
once looked. I remember there were one or two parshas in Dvarim that didn't have much of his name.
Yeah?
I'm pretty sure I have to look again.
Could be.
We'd have to go back and change all the Shem.
Steht nicht da, but
Maybe because it's the Mishnah Torah.
no. It's. I mean, I don't think you're right. I'm saying because the Medrash says, why is Moshe Rabbeinu's name not in Parshat Tzav? Because next week Parsha by the Egel he says, "V'mayin mechenina misifcha shekasafta," and kilas chacham afilo al tnayu ba. So even though Hakadosh Baruch Hu accepted his tefillah, afal pikein he had to be meiche his name from the parsha, from a parsha.
Why to tell?
Why to Tzav is the going? You have to be Moshe Rabbeinu. You have to erase his name. Comes Vayakel. Okay, let's erase his name Moshe from Vayakel. Nah, we'll do it next week. B'kudei, Vayikra, Tzav, Shemini. Till he finally got to Tzav, is your last chance, because you can be back to Kisisa after Tzav. So Tzav was the last chance to erase Moshe Rabbeinu's name. Dr. Goin, Moshe Rabbeinu's name is Merumaz in the amount of psukim in the parsha. There are 101 psukim parsha Tzav. And the Hester of Moshe Rabbeinu's name, Moshe Mem Shin Hey, if you write B'miloi, Mem is Mem Mem, Shin is Shin Yud Nun, and Hey is Hey Aleph. You take the Mem of the Mem Mem, the Yud Nun of Shin, and the Aleph of Hey, and you got 101. Okay, so the Hester of the number of parshas of the number of psukim of the parshas has been Ramas to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu, why was he Zoiche? We'll say not to have his name in the parsha. Right, is because he was Moshe Nefesh for Klal Yisrael. Right, he's the gewaltige Moshe Nefesh for Klal Yisrael. Why is Moshe Rabbeinu? What's up? Is he's the Moshe Nefesh for Klal Yisrael? Because Moshe Rabbeinu is ultimately the tikkun of Adam Rishon. Moshe Rabbeinu is the Gilgal of Sheis ben Noach, ben Adam, right? And he's a Gilgal of Noach. That's why he ended up in the Teva like Noach. And the last words in Parashas Truma is Nechoshes, which is Noach Sheis, Va'ata, and you Moshe, as I state in Zohar, I believe. Right?
What's the Mesiris Nefesh that he gave up being
that he's willing to give up everything in his life, everything he accomplished for Klal Yisrael's sake. If you don't forgive Klal Yisrael, Moshe Rabbeinu is ultimately, why is he so responsible? Because that's his role. He is ultimately the R, like we'll say the words, R Abba, right? That is mislabish in Klal Yisrael, which is ultimately the R Torah. Okay, he's the grace in Moshe Nefesh. Grace in Moshe Nefesh, so he gets erased, right? What's the pshat? So the pshat is Moshe Rabbeinu's name getting erased. On the one hand, sounds like it's a punishment. But how's Moshe Rabbeinu referred to in this expression? Instead of Vayidaber Hashem Moshe Lemar, what does it say? Va'ata tetzavis b'nei Yisrael. Va'ata. Right? When you talk to someone who's chashiv, do you say va'ata? You don't say you, right? That's too intimate to someone that's very chashiv. Moshe Rabbeinu's punishment of not being called by name is really a total upgrade. Like Hashem refers to him direct, va'ata, and you.
For no
Right.
name basis.
Right, just panim, right? Va'ata, right? The Indian of a shame, bichlal, is something very chitzonius. Moshe is Isis Hashem. As I say in the Shalom, Moshe is Isis Hashem, meaning Moshe is just, he really doesn't have a name, right? Like you find, he's the only person born in the Torah, right? Vateled, Vayari Sakitaivu, Vateled Bein Vayari Sakitaivu. He has no name, right? He's not named. The Bas Par comes and gives him a name because Bemis doesn't have a name. Moshe is a mala from a name because a name is something that is something chitzonius. Moshe is in God's Pnimiyus, and his Pnimiyus comes out in Va'ata Tetzava. So through his Mesiras Nefesh, he's zeicha to a Pnimiyustic existence that is greater than he was until now, right? So his Mesiras Nefesh, on the one hand, seems to be a punishment, but ultimately the fact that he's Mesiras Nefesh, he has a name erased, it comes out a Maila, that he's become so pnimiously connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so it's Va'ata. Just for you guys with a nice word. I saw Rabbi Shur brought this down from maybe the Pnei Menachem. I'm not going to say exactly the way he said it, but you have Azay. Purim is ultimately a Pnimiyus Tegiyontiv, right? Nichlas Ne'ayin Yotzei Side. Everything is about the Pnimiyus, and that's why you have to go Ad Lo Yoda, right? Because Ad Lo Yoda is Nichlas Ne'ayin Yotzei Side, but Ad Lo Yoda also has to do with Eitz Hadas, right? We have to be misaken. We have to be misaken Eitz Hadas, right? Maybe that's what Lo Yoda has to do, right?
No doubt.
Our Haman Baruch Mordechai is the Lo Yoda Malchus. What is Malchus? Malchus has Mordechai being eiches in it, and Haman being eiches in it, right? And you have to be misaken, right, the Eitz Hadas. So the Lo Yoda means you're misaken the Eitz Hadas, right? Because the reason why it's called Eitz Hadas Tov Ra, only because it has that ability for shlit of Tov Ra. And Purim is you take away the Eitz Hadas, and Eitz Hadas becomes one with Eitz Chayim, right? Because the whole reason Eitz Hadas is Tov Ra. Once you neutralize the Ra, so it's no longer Eitz Hadas, you just upgraded the Eitz Hadas Tov Ra to where? To Eitz Chayim, right? L'chayra, right? Ken Zayin, the pshat is Bayemahu Yiyah Hashem Echad we spoke about. Right? Shem Hashem ultimately is going to be Yud-Kei, because Eitz Hadas Tov Ra is He'achroina with the Vav K, and when He'achroina goes into the Vav goes back to its original state in Yud K, and the name becomes Yud K. Right? Vayemahu Yiyah Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad. Right? Haman. Right? So if Yiyah Hashem Echad is what's Yiyah with Adna? We mentioned this. It's Gemacha 95. Gemacha Haman. Haman ultimately inspires this tikkun. Right? He's mechayev this tikkun because his achiz and malchus forces you to misak the malchus until the malchus no longer exists the way it does, and it goes back to you enter into a lost lavi dika phase in Purim, and that's why calling mentovim asin li batel chus mi Purim. Not that you have to know what it means batel, but whatever it means is that Purim is the most misoga dika yantiv that's connected to Eilam Haba. Because the neutralizing of Ra is most apparent on Purim, and again, I think that's I'm sure it's said that Haman is Begamacha 95, which instead of 91 of Havaya Adna, it's Yiyah Adna and Begamacha 95. But just to ice fear, I just got distracted. Moshe Rabbeinu, it doesn't have a name, right? Babis, he doesn't have a name. His name is Kitaifu, right? In this week's parsha, he reaches that madrega of no name. What's his name when it's no name? Right? It's Taiv. I already say Kitaifu. Imal. If I keep these away, I'm good. Imal Amelach Taiv. Right? Imal Amelach Taiv. That's the big word, right? Which would be Moshe Rabbeinu without a name in his matzav Mesiras Nefesh for Klal Yisrael. Im ha'amelach toiv. This is what constantly Esther's davening. Im ha'amelach toiv. You need bechin of toiv, which is Moshe Rabbeinu. That's his name. Without a name, Moshe is toiv. I always like Hitoivu, right? Not only Hitoiv, what's his name? Where it says his name is Toiv Ka, right? Because Moshe Rabbeinu bechin of toiv, there's no vav k anymore, right? It's toiv ka.
Why is she appealing to Malchus though? She's thinking about Melech.
Everything always goes through Malchus. Except once you second Malchus, so then
No, I thought Malchus can't.
all hashpas come derech Malchus. The iris that are in Malchus, and everything goes through Malchus. Hashem spas ha'tiftach is you have to go through Malchus.
Malchus anyways referring to the body shleilim, no?
Yeah. You have to But anyway, that would be a good chiddush, right? The fact that she's constantly referencing Esther, the Indian from Toiv, right, which is the pchin of Moshe Rabbeinu without a shame in his Mesiras Nefesh, which was Goyim, his ability to stand, to ultimately be the one that stands up for Klal Yisrael, right? That's what she's actually exercising in her tefillah. We're talking about Zoiche, Zichram LaYosef Mizaram, that all the iris of Purim, which is the Megillah's Megala, these iris, the Megillah Lashon Megala is like the Arizas, Megala, all these iris. And all these iris are literally iris of Lasalava, Lamhaba. And we should be Zaychataka to have a tremendous simcha and aliyah and growth. Ala bracha, gesund, nachas, parnosa, siyat ishmaya, avas Hashem, yos Hashem. Gewaldige aliyah in everything we do.
Amen.